My name is Rebecca Smith. I'm 32 years old and have been married to my husband, Michael, for 3 years now. Our relationship is wonderful, and I'm especially close to his younger sister, Emily. We get along like real sisters. This story involves a man named Daniel, who would later become Emily's husband. Michael and I have been together for over a decade, even before we were married. In many ways, we felt like parental figures to Emily. We always wanted the best for her and did our best to look after her. So, when she received a marriage proposal from her fiancé, she was eager to introduce him to us, her second parents. "I want you both to meet my fiancé," she said one day, her eyes shining with excitement. It was a special moment for us. Seeing Emily take this step toward a happy future filled our hearts with joy. We couldn't wait to meet the man she had chosen. The day finally arrived. Emily brought Daniel over to introduce him. He looked to be around my age, maybe 32, making him 5 years older than Emily. I silently noted that she must have a thing for older men. He had a solid presence and a calm demeanor that I found impressive, but something felt off. Throughout the conversation, I kept catching Daniel sneaking glances at me. Did he want to say something? Did I remind him of someone, or was I imagining it? Feeling a little self-conscious, I subtly checked my outfit and smoothed my hair, but nothing seemed amiss. Eventually, he seemed to realize it was rude to stare and quickly looked away. Michael and I decided not to dwell on it. We sat down together, and as expected, the conversation turned to the usual formalities. "Please take good care of my little sister," Michael said warmly. "Emily, I'm trusting you to him," I added with a smile. The atmosphere was warm and pleasant, easing any initial awkwardness. Then, Michael asked something we were both curious about. "So, Daniel, where do you work?" Daniel straightened up, his expression filled with pride. "You might have heard of it, I work at TE Company, the rapidly growing game development firm." Michael and I exchanged surprised glances. "Wait, TE Company, the famous one?" I asked. "That's right," Daniel confirmed, puffing out his chest. "I joined them last year, but let me be clear, I wasn't just some random hire. They recruited me personally because of my skills. I didn't leave my old job because I was unhappy. This was a step up, a promotion. Don't worry, I didn't start as a regular employee." His confidence was almost overwhelming. Michael and I were both taken aback. Daniel seemed to enjoy our reactions and continued, his voice brimming with self-importance. "That's why you can trust me with Emily. My career is advancing quickly at TE Company, faster than most people. Even though I started at a standard level, my salary will rise rapidly, and I'll be moving up in no time." Something about the way he spoke unsettled me. TE Company was indeed prestigious, and I knew quite a bit about it. Michael was familiar with its reputation too, though not in as much detail. Emily and Michael seemed impressed, but they probably didn't realize just how competitive the company was. Daniel's meteoric rise sounded unusual. Still, I decided to take his words at face value. As the conversation shifted, I grew curious about how they met. Emily smiled as she recounted their story. "A mutual friend introduced us. Daniel didn't want to go through matchmaking events, so he asked someone he trusted to set him up. I wasn't actively looking for a boyfriend either, but when my friend suggested it, I thought, why not?" She turned to Daniel with a soft expression. "I love how he always makes me smile. He's a little clumsy sometimes, but it's kind of cute." Their affection for each other was obvious, like the sweetness of a dessert we weren't eating. But something still nagged at me. As they were preparing to leave, Daniel and Emily were discussing bringing rice and gifts for a future visit. In the midst of that, Daniel suddenly turned to me and asked a question that caught me completely off guard. "Hey, do you really not remember me?" I blinked, confused. "What?" He studied my face carefully, as if searching for recognition. "You really don't remember me?" he repeated, his tone a mix of disbelief and disappointment. His face was familiar, but I couldn't place him. No matter how hard I tried to dig through my memories, I came up blank. Seeing my struggle, Daniel let out a small sigh. "Never mind," he said, shaking his head. Then, as if brushing it off, he pulled out his phone. "Let's exchange contact info. Oh, and tell Michael later, I forgot to get his number too." I hesitated for a moment before nodding, but deep down, something about this encounter didn't sit right with me. I was taken aback by Daniel's sudden shift to an informal tone. Even if we had been close in the past, I couldn't remember it, and I certainly didn't recall being close to anyone who would speak so rudely. Inside, my mind raced with questions. Who was he? What kind of relationship did we have? But with Emily right there, it didn't feel like the right time to ask. So, I stayed quiet. After exchanging contact information, I planned to message him later to clear up my doubts, but before I could, he texted first. I'm surprised. The girl who used to sit quietly in the corner of the classroom in elementary school got married before me. Your face hasn't changed much, so I recognized you right away. My heart stopped. Growing up, I lived far away, and my time in elementary school wasn't happy. I was often teased by classmates, memories I had buried long ago. Eventually, my mother and I moved to a new city before middle school, leaving those painful years behind. It was there that I met Michael, a kind and wonderful friend who would later become my husband. I had no reason to ever look back. But now, Daniel was forcing me to. His words unsettled me, so I responded cautiously. What do you mean? I also made sure to clarify that Michael would be included in any future conversations between us. I didn't explain my past or why I felt uneasy. Daniel, seemingly amused, sent another message. Do you remember being called PE girl in elementary school? The words made my stomach turn. That nickname had a painful history. It started because I came from a single-parent household. Even though we weren't struggling financially, some of the other mothers assumed we were. Rumors spread among their children, and before I knew it, my classmates had labeled me PE girl as if I was beneath them. At the time, my mother had even considered taking legal action against the woman who started the rumors. Instead, she chose to move us somewhere new, to a place where I could have a fresh start. And now, after all these years, someone was calling me that name again. I took a deep breath and responded firmly. Please be mindful of what you say. You're my sister-in-law's fiancé, and that's all. There's no reason to bring up things that don't make sense. Daniel didn't reply after that. Maybe he realized he had crossed a line. But Michael had been watching everything, and his expression darkened. What is that guy thinking? He's talking to his fiancé's sister-in-law, and he brings up stuff from elementary school like it's some kind of joke. That's insane, he said, visibly irritated. I placed a hand on his arm, trying to calm him. Take it easy, I murmured, though I was shaken myself. Something didn't sit right with me, so I called my mother that night. Mom, do you still have an old class photo from my elementary school days? She found one quickly, and her voice on the other end of the line made my blood run cold. Rebecca, wasn't Daniel the boy who bullied you the most? Everything clicked into place. Daniel wasn't just another classmate, he was the one who had made my life miserable. Just to be sure, I asked her to send me the photo. When I looked at it, I finally saw it, the chubby boy with a smug expression. He looked different now, having slimmed down and matured, but there was no doubt in my mind. Daniel had been my worst bully. Months later, after that unsettling realization, I distanced myself from Daniel as much as possible. We only spoke when necessary, and even then, Michael was always included. So, I was surprised when, months later, Emily called me directly. Rebecca, we haven't received your RSVP yet. Are you and Michael coming to the wedding? I frowned. What wedding invitation? We were looking forward to it, but we never got one, I replied. Emily sounded genuinely shocked. That's strange, I definitely sent it. Maybe something went wrong. I'll bring it to you tomorrow, just in case, she promised. True to her word, she came over the next day and handed us the invitation in person. Michael and I assured her we'd be there. At the time, we had no idea what was coming. The wedding day, Emily looked breathtaking in her white wedding dress, radiant and happy. As I hugged her, I felt tears prick my eyes, wishing her a lifetime of joy. But the warmth of the moment didn't last. Daniel's voice cut through the celebration, sharp and accusatory. Why are you here? He demanded, his expression dark. The room went silent. I didn't invite you. Gasps rippled through the guests. Michael and I exchanged stunned glances. It was clear now, Daniel had deliberately ensured we never received the invitation. And then, in front of everyone, he sneered and pointed at me. This woman grew up with just her mom. When things got tough, she ran away. Maybe she had money problems, and now she's with a rich guy, thinking life will be easy. She's living in a dream. Shock and horror washed over me. I had spent years moving past my painful childhood, building a happy and stable life, but here he was, dragging me back into the very past I had worked so hard to escape. I wasn't the girl in the corner of the classroom anymore. And I wasn't going to stay silent this time. Despite knowing nothing about my past, Daniel falsely accused me. Michael, sitting beside me, clenched his fists in anger, but I placed a hand on his arm. Stay calm, I silently urged him. Daniel, however, wasn't done. I have an important job at a well-known company. Are you planning to use your connection as my sister-in-law to get money from me after I marry Emily? He asked, his voice filled with arrogance. His friends, instead of being shocked, looked entertained, almost as if they shared the same narrow-minded views. I took a slow, steady breath. Without a word, I walked over to a nearby staff member and requested the microphone. All eyes turned to me. Daniel's expression shifted. He looked like he was expecting an emotional outburst, a desperate defense, but I wasn't going to give him that satisfaction. Instead, I spoke calmly, clearly. It's ridiculous that someone who can't even recognize the face of his own company's president calls himself an elite. Think carefully. If you want to cut ties with me, I'll be in the president's office tomorrow. We'll go through HR procedures. I handed the microphone back and returned to my seat, my expression unreadable. Michael, however, couldn't take any more. He stood up and strode toward the exit. Moments later, Emily followed. Daniel, still oblivious, called after her. Wait, why are you leaving too? I'm just trying to end things with her. If that's the case, there shouldn't be any problems, right? Emily stopped and turned to him, her gaze ice cold. You really don't know Rebecca, do you? She said, her voice firm. She's the CEO of T Company. I respect and admire her deeply. I can't forgive you for insulting her. I'm ending this engagement right now. You've ruined such an important day. Be prepared. Gasps rippled through the room. Daniel's smug confidence crumbled into sheer disbelief. Without hesitation, Emily approached the venue staff and, with quiet dignity, removed her wedding dress. She then turned to the guests, her voice unwavering. The wedding is cancelled. Instead, this will simply be a gathering. This situation will not happen again, and I place full blame on Daniel for the breakup. Just like that, the night ended, not as a celebration of love, but as the beginning of Daniel's downfall. The next day, as promised, I waited in the president's office. Two large, muscular security personnel stood by, prepared for any trouble. Daniel arrived looking as arrogant as ever, though I could see the flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. He entered without knocking, without even greeting me, a clear sign of his lack of professionalism. But the moment he saw me sitting behind the desk, his confidence wavered. No way. I can't believe you're really the president. This is unbelievable, he muttered. I simply tilted my head. If you had done even a little research, you would have found the president's information on our website. Didn't you check before coming? His mouth opened, then closed. Well, there were some things. He trailed off weakly. It was obvious he hadn't taken my words seriously. Perhaps he thought I had been bluffing at the wedding. I didn't waste time. I'm considering terminating your contract, I stated firmly. His face twisted in shock. What? You can't make such a quick decision over a small misunderstanding. I'll report this to the Labor Standards Inspection Office. Without a word, I slid a copy of his resume across the desk. You lied about your education, didn't you? And you listed skills you don't actually have. Excel, video editing. Is that true? His breath hitched. Well, about that. Falsifying information and providing false reports are valid grounds for termination, I said coolly. He was speechless. Truthfully, I had a bad feeling about him from the moment we met again. After the wedding incident, I conducted a full investigation into his employment history. Normally, our company doesn't recruit through headhunters, and even when we do, I personally interview the candidates. I had no recollection of speaking with Daniel in depth. As it turned out, he had entered through the standard hiring process as an entry-level employee. He frequently boasted about his skills and ambition, yet in reality, he had never earned a single promotion. His self-assessment was absurdly high, raising suspicion. Further investigation revealed he was lazy, uninterested in growth, and satisfied with merely being employed. Despite my attempts to guide him, he ignored every opportunity for improvement. Now that his engagement with Emily was over, I had no reason to maintain any connection with him. His behavior made it clear he hadn't changed from the boy who once bullied me. I don't see any reason to continue our relationship, I told him plainly. His face paled. Can't you help me out, as an old friend? I met his desperate gaze with indifference. We were never friends. With that, I signaled to HR to proceed with his immediate termination. The aftermath. Daniel had been banking on his father's financial support, but when his father learned of the outrageous rumors he had spread, including at his own wedding, he had reached his limit. Years ago, my mother had sued someone for defamation. That someone had been Daniel's mother. My father had paid compensation for damages once before. Now, faced with history repeating itself, my father cut Daniel off completely. No more support, no more handouts. With no job, no connections, and no safety net, Daniel was left struggling to care for his elderly mother while dealing with mounting legal fees. Eventually, he disappeared. Witnesses last saw him being taken away by individuals dressed in all black. To this day, no one knows where he is. I have no plans to search for him. Moving forward, Emily was devastated at first, but time is a healer. 6 months later, she has found peace. It's probably for the best that we didn't get married, she says now, a genuine smile returning to her face. She's even started looking for a new partner. As for Michael and me, we're simply relieved. Emily is happy again, the past is behind us. And finally, we can focus on the future.